With Matt Riddle called out by his wife and CM Punk feeling like trash after making his comeback, this is Wrestling Hub. My name is John and you're watching the Wrestling Report for October 11th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. With Sportskeeda, Dominik Mysterio opened up on why he did not make his WWE debut with a mask like his father Ray. It was thought about, it was talked about. When I would go and train, I would train with a mask on just so I would know the feeling, how to get used to it, moving it around, things like that, breathing. So yeah, I would train with the mask on because I wanted to debut with the mask on. I wanted to debut traditionally as a Mysterio with the mask, but everything happened so fast and all these opportunities started presenting themselves. My face was already on TV, so there's no point in putting a mask on, unless at this point it's a passing of the torch for my dad. I think that's the only way we could do it at this point that would work. With him hoping to take the Rey Mysterio name, we'll have to see when Dominik gets to take on the mantle of his father. When it came to the most recent draft, there were plans of splitting up tag teams like the Street Profits and even AJ Styles and Omos as WrestleVotes reported. WWE had seriously considered breaking the pairing of AJ and Omos during the draft, to the point where that was the plan, until people of power, including a main event Raw talent, spoke up and expressed thoughts on how Omos isn't quite ready for singles yet, and they actually listened. Speaking about his wife, AJ Lee, making a return to be an executive producer for Women of Wrestling, CM Punk told Sports Illustrated, "I'm very excited for her. She's doing what she wants to do. She's going to get to write and use her voice to do something that she maybe thought she wouldn't get the chance to do again. It's no bumps, it's a chance to help foster and grow the next generation of females in wrestling. That's a perfect spot for her." Punk had previously noted on WFAN's Moose and Maggie that she'd be willing to return to wrestling but was dealing with a bad neck. I would love to see AJ return. I get asked that question every single time I do an interview and I love it. I absolutely love it. I don't think she wants to do it because she's a teeny tiny person and she has a bad neck. I think the shelf life for females in wrestling a full schedule is a lot shorter. It's a lot smaller than men. And I think she's so focused on what she's doing now, writing screenplays. She's working on a million different projects, being pulled in so many directions. I think she would probably maybe be receptive to the idea of coming back, but that can't even enter her vocabulary right now. She's so focused on the movie scripts and TV adaptation of a book she's working on. Being interviewed by The Wrap, CM Punk mentioned how it feels to be back inside the wrestling ring after 7 years. "Oh, I feel like trash. I'll be honest. I'm 42 years old and I haven't taken bumps in 7+ years. I think there's something to building up a callus, to something you do on a regular basis becoming easier because you do it on a regular basis. I think a lot of wrestlers are feeling this right now. The pandemic, when it shut everything down and it essentially killed house show business, they're not on the road. They're not taking bumps Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I think everybody kind of felt this awfulness of, oh man, I'm wrestling less frequently than I used to, but it feels worse somehow." He still feels that despite not being at his physical best, that this is a more enjoyable run, saying this about the business. "It's 100% better now. I don't gotta drive into a town and try to check into a hotel at 4:30 in the morning and find out there's a clown convention in town and all the hotels are booked up. The appealing schedule was one of the reasons I came back. The pandemic and the reset kind of made it to where the wrestlers have that better schedule and they have more say over, this is easier and this is the way it should be. You can't treat us like cattle," and that's definitely an appeal. With a 3-0 record in AEW, Punk remains undefeated as he looks set to face Matt Sydal for AEW Rampage. Last month, Paige took to Twitter to say that she was not done yet after discussing a possible return to pro wrestling, with her hinting at making a comeback in January. Now she's dropped another hint on social media, posting a picture of her wrestling boots as well as her Divas title. She was forced to retire after suffering a neck injury in December of 2018, with her mentioning that her current WWE deal expires in June 2022. Talking on the Vicky Guerrero show, Lio Rush was asked about his dream matches now that he's in AEW, with him replying, "The one that stuck out to me was Bryan Danielson. I would love to be in a ring with Bryan. I think we would have a really good match. Who else? I need that one-on-one with Kenny Omega. I need it. Anything that I do in life, I try to aim for the top. I think I'm more than capable of having some great matches with those guys, so yeah, why not? But even the younger guys, some of the younger guys that are a part of the roster, guys like Dante Martin, I would love to be in the ring with him. I feel like he's kind of guy that everyone's talking about, this new age of high flyers, so Dante Martin is definitely another guy that I would love to be in the ring with, and I think I'll cap it off with, I think it's only right to have a match, but start it off with some promos with CM Punk. When asked if he could click with Martin as a tag team, Rush replied, "We definitely would. I think Dante is super talented. He's so young. He's better than I was when I was his age, so I can only imagine where he's going to be in the next few years." While he prefers to work alone, Rush was asked about joining a faction, as he is open to simply building his own group. See, this is hard because I'm usually a ride solo kind of guy, but if I were to pick a faction, I think I'd want to build one myself. I wouldn't want to be in one that's already a thing. I think I would want to build one myself, and I guess I would have to do some recruiting, some studying, getting a better look at the AEW roster, so who knows, maybe week by week I'll see who I'm a fan of and who I want to work with and try to make it a thing in the future. Cody Rhodes seems to be keeping himself busy. Not only is he an active competitor in the ring, but he's an executive for AEW and just recently got his own reality TV show. On Busted Open Radio, his wife Brandi touched on his workload and if there is any concern. No, I'm not concerned about him at all, and that's because I am the closest person to him. There are busier times in life, and there are times where we kind of coast a little bit. This is the busiest time for both of us that it's ever been. You just have to learn how to adjust, and you have to give people grace for that adjustment period. I've been the most organized person I've ever known forever. You tell me something, boom, I never forget a name, I never forget a face. Lately you could be in my face for 12 hours straight, and then I would turn away and I look back and I don't remember you because my brain is screwed up from becoming a new parent. That's just what happens. So then you have to learn how to adjust and work from there. Okay, the things I was doing before aren't working now. For instance, I'm an old woman at heart, and I write everything down in a planner with pen and paper. I know that people from a newer generation are like, what? There are planners? But I used to do that, and that was my way of making sure I had everything. Not anymore. Now I've got a digital planner on my phone, because the second somebody says something to me, I have to put it in the phone, and it has to be a 15-minute alert beforehand. So if I don't do that, I do things like miss the PR call yesterday that was my phone call, and have a bunch of people on the phone just waiting for me. That's something that's not characteristic of me at all, but since having the baby, that is what I have to do. Otherwise, I will miss everything, every single time. I think Cody is going through his adjustment period, and he needs to figure out what works best for him to kind of have his new normal. I'm just giving him his time to do it. I know a lot of things I tell Cody that he's going to forget. I write down in my digital planner so I can remind him 15 minutes before, because I'm going to forget too. Dudley made his return to WWE with Bubba Ray in 2015, and when it came time to sign a new contract for both of them, only one member of the tag team decided to stay, as Devon would take on the role of a producer backstage. Well, Bubba didn't want to play fair, and I know Bubba will have his own opinion about what happened, but again, that's the majority of it. They gave us both the contract, I signed it, he didn't want to sign it, and it left a bad taste in their mouth, and by the time he was ready to sign it, somebody had already went by. Let me give you a timeline. When Shane McMahon came back in Detroit, that was when I signed the deal. That was in March. So the deal actually came to us in February of that year. Now they've been trying to get us to sign it and Bubba wouldn't sign it. Now all of a sudden we go forward and I've signed it and he hasn't, because there's still things he felt he had to take care of on his side. By the time he got through that, the company was like, nah, we don't want it anymore. We're not dealing with the headaches. And they decided not to do it. It wasn't like WWE did a bad thing by us. Let me put it to you this way. They gave us a contract that was great. And at 44 and 45 years of age, I even told Bubba, we need to take the money and just go. We're not going to get another opportunity like this again. We just need to sign this contract and do another year. If you don't do another year after it, don't do it. I'll go on my own. But I couldn't make him sign it. Devon would go on to produce for WWE, with Bubba heading to Ring of Honor. As Devon noted, I wish him nothing but the best. We do not do business anymore. There's no hard feelings, and I don't have any animosity towards him. It's just he's doing his thing and I'm doing my thing. Bubba and I are not at odds with each other. We don't hate one another. We just went different ways like most tag teams do. This is not a Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels thing where we hate each other. We don't. We just had a difference of opinions at that time and we went our separate ways. Even the wrestling school. He has the wrestling school in Connecticut. I have the one in Winter Park over here. So we both individually own our wrestling schools, but we just do things separate now. That's all. Following a victory for RK Bro over AJ and Omos, Riddle took to Twitter Sunday to say, I love my life so much, bro. I'm in California tagging with my best bro Randy, and trust me, it doesn't get any better than this dude. This led to his wife replying in a now deleted tweet, you would say that now that you packed up and moved to Orlando away from your children. The two were married in 2011 and have 3 kids together, as we hope there aren't any long-term issues at home for the Raw Tag Team Champion. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.